Hi, my name is Joseph Bassett with the Watson CPA Group, and today I'm going to be talking to you about tax planning. Now, at the Watson CPA Group, we take a collaborative approach to your tax planning, whereas some firms, they might call you once in December, might call you once in January, and just might do your taxes in April. But with us, you'll be in constant communication throughout the year. And the reason why we do this is to minimize surprises. Now, surprises can be a good thing, but when we're talking about income tax, they're usually a bad thing. And how we minimize these bad surprises is by gathering your data throughout the year. You know, if we're sitting here in July and I say, what do you think your business is going to do for income for the year? You may not know the answer to that question. Or you might know the answer, you might be on a contract and say, hey Joseph, we're going to do $100,000 this year. That's great too. But if you don't know what your business is going to do, we can totally help you with our tax planning. We'll say, what did you do last year? Will probably be our first question. Followed by, do you think you're going to do the same this year? Just to kind of see how you feel like your business is operating throughout the year. And then we'll also keep asking you about it. So maybe in July you didn't know what your business is going to do, but now we're sitting here in November and I say, what do you think your business is going to do for the year? And you're like, we're going to do $200,000. There's one contract that might come in, I'm not sure. But now you have a much better idea of where you're at for net business income for the year. The next step of our tax planning involves outside income. You know, if your spouse has a W-2 job, if you have a rental that actually makes money, if you've got, pension income, anything like that that's going to affect your overall tax liability, we need to know that information. You know, your spouse having a W-2 job, is your spouse withholding enough income tax? You know, you might not know the answer to that question, but that's okay. We're here to help you figure that out through our tax planning. And throughout the year, we'll also make sure that you, as an S-Corp owner, will get a reasonable salary throughout the year. And once we gather all this data and we compile it, we put it into a mock tax return and also determine if you have any other tax obligations, such as capital gains. Once we do this, we can typically eliminate your estimated payments by adjusting your withholdings up and down. Also, some firms might only run payroll once a year, but by us staying in constant communication with you throughout the year, running multiple payroll events, it helps your small business budget cash flow a lot better. You know, the worst thing for a business owner is to have $50,000 in their bank account and not know how much of it is theirs. You know, they don't know how much they're going to have to pay for taxes, if they can take that money out or not. With our tax planning, you'll have a better control of your business account. And then the overall goal of our tax planning is just, tax neutrality next April. And what that looks like is a $1,000 refund for your federal return and $500 from the state. And that leaves just a little buffer for those surprises. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any more questions, please refer to the links below. You may also download our book from our website, give us a call, or just come on in. Thank you.